Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Sam, and you are at the Morning Mayhem Show. You have found where you need to be this morning. I don't know. I don't know if this is where you need to be. We're going to be talking about Karmelo Anthony. Let's get another cheer for that. We are always fighting for Justin for Austin Metcalf. His name doesn't get said enough in the narrative, that's for sure. We're just going to do an update since I've covered it last on my channel. Now there's tons of updates on other channels, the quartering, YouTube streets and other places. There's been tons of updates out there that some of you might have seen. I'm basically going to cover a little bit of that. Someone just reminded me of something else that I forgot that I needed to cover, about the gag order being about there even being a gag order, and then the gag order being broken. And I was going to talk about that with this chick influencer, that's what you want to call her, this Tiffany Billions. But we're going to get into that. We're going to watch something from the quartering, then we're going to go over to X and check that out a little bit, and cover a little bit of what Sarah Fields has been posting about it, and some other things, this, that, and the other. I will be right back. I am Sam. This is the Morning Mayhem Show. Finally back off the summer hiatus. I will see you guys back in 2 and 2.
He was just a boy with a quiet stare, standing tall in a world unfair. A tent for shelter, not a stage for war. A simple request, nothing more.
But shadows fall where truth should stand. A story twisted by a careful hand. Drew Anthony, your soul's condemned. Umar and Charleston, carry out your plan. Along with Dominique, it makes no sense.
Two victims now exist. Karmelo, your son, and Austin.
Justice for Austin, let the truth break free. No spin, no lies, just clarity. His voice was silenced, but we will speak. Justice for Austin, for the strong, for the weak.
No. Anyways, so let's watch the quartering first. So most of you guys know who the quartering is. His name's Jeremy, I think. He put out a video a while ago. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done any catching up on the topic. He put out a video a while ago called Karmelo Anthony Corruption Revealed. This is going to look very bad at trial. They broke the gag order. So there was a gag order. Finally, the judge put a gag order on everybody, and they were breaking it from the very first moment. And there's this weird character out there. I haven't put my finger on it. He's a friend of the Anthony family. He's a white guy. I think he used to work with Drew. And he's always like pretending to be people he's not, and does like, I don't know. I can't speak on it because I for sure, 100. So I don't know what made me just think of that. I think because I just seen something on X this morning about it. But let's take a listen to.
Just keeps getting weirder and weirder. Some dark turns and a new report of some deep corruption going on in the Karmelo Anthony case. My name is Jeremy. This is the quartering. Let's get into the story. I hope you guys are enjoying, by the way. Today we had Sam Tripoli on live. Tomorrow we have Count Dankula on this week. We have Andrew Wilson, and we've just got a bunch of great guests this week. So I hope you'll tune into the live show at 2 Eastern. I'm going to be live streaming it on my main channel too, so that everyone can get a taste, at least this week. If they like it, then you can follow on the live channels. But let's get into this huge update that we got. This is from Sarah Fields. Update on the Karmelo Anthony case. Deep corruption involving backdoor manipulation. A false defense case formed with plans to target the jury. Criminals being used to target innocent defenders of Austin Metcalf. And already a violation of the gag order. Now, there was a gag order from the judge that was issued late in July, I think July 28th or 29th, basically because hey, the case is, getting a lot of publicity, they say, and, we want to make sure that we can get a clean jury pool, this, that, and the other thing, which I do understand. But ultimately, you have to follow the gag order.
And that's not going to happen. I mean, well, no, it will happen. They will find people that haven't heard of this case. They absolutely will. If you would have asked me that, let's just say a year ago, I would have said, no way. But they did with the Karen Reed trial, supposedly. And they definitely did with the Diddy trial. I mean, I have friends that I hang out with all the time, and they're not on YouTube, and they barely knew Diddy was in jail. So, we're all invested in these things, with our time, at least. I don't know about emotionally, but we're invested in these things. And so we can't believe that no one knows about this, because in our world, everybody knows about all these different stories that we watch and cover and see and comment about. So it's bizarre for us to think that there's people out there that wouldn't know that there's potential jurors that would be unaffected by all the back and forth that goes on between sides, for and opposing. So it's blows me away sometimes.
On April 2nd, we all remember what happened. But what happened next, no one could have seen coming. It would ignite a firestorm. As the Anthony family's advocates, first, Dominique Alexander, a convicted felon tied to an aggressive riot back in 2016, and now Tiffany Billions, a self-proclaimed law student linked to a militant group, push narratives of self-defense with no public evidence to back it. They've unleashed a campaign of lies, doxing, and horrific threats, including targeting families of deceased children, from possible gag order violations to a, quote, disruptor enforcer with a rap sheet. This case reveals a disturbing underbelly of manipulation and intimidation that demands your attention. Definitely, Sarah is censored. Sarah Fields has been doing incredible reporting on this case. Make sure you follow her on X. And if you haven't yet, make sure you follow my channel wherever you're watching this. I'll be on this now. I'm sure news will get kind of sparse in the next.
And you guys know I've talked about Sarah Fields in the past. All good. I've used her information to report on this case a bunch of times. So this is the same Sarah Fields, obviously. Yeah.
Next couple of months, we're not going to get much until June, but who knows? Okay. Now, disclaimer: part 6 of the story is highly disturbing. Please be advised. So we have this video here with people talking about it.
Disputing what you were saying. She was saying, no, he can't be online, because she's never been in the Zoom calls. Now, the people that were in the Zoom calls, and I hate to have this conversation publicly.
Oh, okay.
But the people that were in the Zoom calls were privy to the fact that he could be online. Because
Miss Tiff,
yes.
I'm so sorry. I don't want to interrupt you, but we haven't been in the Zoom call. That's something you said to us on one of our panels. You said that on one of our panels.
Okay.
So we did. That's something that you said outside.
Okay.
Of the Zoom.
Okay. If you'll just allow me to finish.
This is this Tiffany Billions person talking, just to get an idea. Part 1, background and catching up on the case. If you have followed my reporting, feel free on part 2. We already know what happened. The Karmelo Anthony family, some suspicious stuff about money, some suspicious stuff about fleeing the state, all sorts of shenanigans like that. But if you're watching my video, I assume you've also been up to date. Now, part 2, enter Tiffany Billions, aka Tiffany McAdoo. The advocacy she is providing for the Anthony family is much more secretive and organized behind the scenes, with an overall campaign to spread lies about the case, confuse the public about what evidence they have and what they don't have, and to sway and attempt to convince a large base that somehow Karmelo has a strong defense, when in reality there's absolutely no evidence available to the public that would convince anyone of a strong defense in this case. Tiffany's manipulation of the events has occurred on April 2nd. Are mostly targeted at easily swayed individuals, while she uses a team she calls her, quote, disruptors, to dox threaten, and intimidate anyone who has defended Austin Metcalf in any way. She has told blatant lies that are easily disproven, and many have fallen for the lies. It follows her in a quest to not only gather support for the Anthony family, but to sway public opinion with false and information and to attempt to taint the jury pool. Tiffany has told individuals that she's a first-year law student. Then in another live recording, she told everyone that she was a second-year law student. Tiffany also told individuals that she watched the Frisco ISD available footage of the incident via an open records request and stated that the security footage she watched was from a viewpoint that did not even allow her to see the altercation. But then, of course, much later stated the narrative that Karmelo was attacked by 4 people. Obviously, a blatant lie. She has aggressively attacked and lied about anyone who challenges her, including me. According to Tiffany, I am a meth head, lost my children. I'm a convicted felon. I was a prostitute, and I'm my 4th baby daddy. I live in a shack. I'm using Give, Send, Go money for myself instead of legal fees to sue her. That I'm using the money to pay for my delivery. I'm covered by VA insurance because I'm a veteran. And that I'm guilty of witness tampering because I was directly involved in getting a prosecution order put into place. A protection order, sorry. That I received private documents from a, quote, insider at Collin County Courthouse. And that the most recent one is that because my lips were chapped in a former video, that I'm either being hit by my husband or that I have the herp. All are lies, of course. All are made up by Tiffany and are being spread online by her group of so-called disruptors. She has also raged online, showing anger for being outed, threatened by children, and stated things like, keep on, your kids are going to pay if you keep playing with me. It's funny that this like playing with me thing. There was this Rajah Jackson guy, you know, and he said people keep playing with me, you know, and what he did yesterday to a veteran was attempt to take his life. So I don't really know.
That's another big story we haven't covered.
This like, you know, I'm going to do whatever I want because I feel disrespected. It seems like a culture thing. But of course, you see many of her posts calling people maggots. We all know these young inbred hillbillies were armed and taunting Anthony because that's what the.
So we don't have to listen to all these details of all this. I've talked about all this in previous videos. You guys can go back if you haven't seen them, go back and check them all out. They're pretty much the thumbnails are all pretty much Karmelo Anthony. And I just don't feel like listening to most of that. Like all the minutia of the details. There's facts that I want to talk about that I know that are new. And most of that is that I never got a chance to cover that. There was a lot of threats made to Sarah Fields, either lover or hater. You know, she doesn't deserve to be threatened. They were threatening her baby. There was her newborn baby before the baby was even born. They were actually waiting for the due date to go harm her and the child. I mean, they were huge threats. They've swatted her. They've sent the SWAT team to her house. They've sent CPS to her house. And they've also done that to Jeff Metcalf's house. Now, supposedly it's been done in kind to them, which isn't so kind. And it just doesn't need to happen. None of this needs to happen. You know, Sarah is doing reporting, which she's allowed to do. It hasn't been racial. The only thing that's been racial about it is that they're just, you know, the Anthonys are African-American and she's white. I mean, but there's no racist component to it at all until Tiffany enters the scene and Charleston White has entered the scene. And I talked about all of that when Charleston White called her KKK racial meth whore and, you know, doing all those all the slurs, and now he's being sued for it. And so is Tiffany. She's got a lawyer. I'm not a fan of her lawyer. He's like this, like this lawyer. He's got like this Texas swag, wears the big funky glasses. I guess he's been on probation. I know lots of lawyers that have been on probation. They usually get put on probation when they go that extra mile to fight for their clients. Not always, but most of the time that's the reason why they kind of skate that line of being ethical. And I don't support that either. I think you should, it's our system. You follow the rules. Just like, when I was fighting my cases, I had to follow the rules and I lost. But I was guilty for most of those things. I was just fighting for the stuff that wasn't legal in my case, like ghost dope and the things that have been settled in the Supreme Court. So we are allowed to fight, our cases, even if we're guilty, because a lot of times they put more on the case than what you're guilty of. So you get to fight that, and God bless America, for real. So I'm just going to go over to X, and when was this? This was on August 30th. So just a few days ago, Sarah Fields, right? Let me just hide this comment real quick. Sarah Fields reports 2 witnesses whose names were protected. These are witnesses of the day of the incident that at Frisco High, or whatever that high school was named, Frisco High, I believe. And they're underage witnesses. I think they're of age now, but at the time they were underage. So their identities do get to be kept secret. And I guess they were doxxed on one of Tiffany Billions's, Zoom calls or whatever she does, and she puts out on TikTok or wherever she does it. But anyways, the report says 2 witnesses whose names were protected and redacted in the Austin Metcalf unalive police report have just been doxxed by Tiffany Billions associates. One individual, Love Block, who is friends with Tiffany Billions, can be heard celebrating in a live stream saying, "Oh yeah, we got your witnesses." The individual who provided the info and photos was known as Big Tiff. I warned everyone that this would happen. If Tiffany Billions and her disruptors were allowed to continue with their plans without accountability, I previously stated that coaches and former Frisco ISD school employees were going to be doxxed. We're being doxxed. Now it's the witnesses. Their goal is to tamper with the witnesses, influence the jury, and have the venue moved. The mind games at the end of this video are astounding. Tiffany does not seem angry the witnesses were doxxed. She's irritated that it was done outside of her Zoom meetings and in public. We have blurred the images of the students and their names were redacted. Let's watch this.
There we go. All right, guys, you got your screenshots ready? Let's do it. Tiff got this up. How do I screenshot here?
Now, so give me a second and I'll put the other screenshot up.
Okay. All right, guys. I hope you do got your screenshot. This is the young man that's been identified. I don't know how. So these are the young men.
Why would they do that?
Karmelo, the other 2 guys that were a part of the situation.
They're trying to say that these 2 guys were with the Metcalf brothers and that they were all like coming, I think that's what they're trying to say. Because they were witnesses doesn't mean they were a part of the incident, that they were intimidating Karmelo because of his junk, of what Charleston White calls his print. And that Karmelo was embarrassed by it. I mean, that's all bullshit anyway. So,
and oh yeah, we got your ass, witness. We got your ass, chocolate.
What does that even mean? We got your ass
on this information. This is beautiful.
The witnesses. Excuse me. What I want to say about the witnesses, So we need to leave that alone. We really need to leave that alone. They're going to say what they're going to say.
Right.
At the time, they were minors. They may not be minors now. But what good does it do the movement for Karmelo to expose who the witnesses are?
Nothing. And I don't think that was the intent. It was just like, hey, these are the guys, because there's oftentimes of racial matters.
Hear how she changed her tune? Now it's like, oh, that wasn't the intent. No, you were just saying we got your ass. And then Tiffany kind of put her in check. So I got to give Tiffany credit where credit's due. At least she kind of like, whoa, you're not doing this any justice. And she wasn't.
Being brought up in the discussion, and it kind of validated that it's not really race bait in the sense that the ops were saying.
Okay, but here's my thing.
I don't think that was the issue. Tiffany, I think the issue was more so. I think the issue was more so trying to determine if those people who made that report were actually friends of the Metcalfs,
right?
And that would show a bias in their statement. Now, I can't speak for everybody who's doing it because I don't even know what live y'all all are talking about. But I know we have been, me and a couple other people have been talking about, who these particular people were. But it was more so on my behalf to see if these people were actually, like, if you connect them as being friends to the Metcalfs, as opposed to just a witness, the way that they're trying to make it seem like it is. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense what I'm trying to say.
But
it absolutely does, and that's what we piece together.
Wouldn't you agree that it would make sense to do that offline?
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree that if
I haven't been doing it online.
But hold on. Let me say this. Wouldn't you agree that if there is a protective order in place regarding those witnesses, and you're not sure if you can disclose their name or not, wouldn't you agree that it makes sense to take that offline, do your research, reach out to somebody in their inbox and say, hey, this is what I found?
Well, you know what? Good for her, man. Like, I wasn't even expecting to hear that because I hadn't heard this. I wanted to react to it with you guys. Like, I didn't know that, like, and I get it. She said she was talking about it, offline and off camera. And that's good. She's like, if she's honest and she's really not trying to race bait and she's not really trying to dox people, then she can do that. Like, we do it, right? We want to know what information is on the ops and make sure everyone's being honest and truthful. So good for her for putting that other chick in check about it. For real. And I in the past, I haven't agreed with anything that Tiffany Billions is doing. So maybe she's on the right path. Like, she even just mentioned the gag order. Like, look, what are you guys doing? So I don't know. Good for her. Doesn't mean I'm a fan of hers. I'm just saying in this instance.
Look, they're related, right? They were at a barbecue together. They kick it over here. They were playing basketball together. Look, and then send that information down the train online so that we can send that to the PI.
Crash Override X says, and yeah, this could be true. I mean, it probably is, because I've never heard her talk with any kind of sensibility at all. So I was like, kind of like astounded. I wanted just to keep talking shit, but I was like, wait a minute, she's making sense to me right now. Crash Override XX says, I should point out that at the time Tiffany stated that she may have noticed what appeared to be law enforcement enter their life. Yeah. That's badass. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. I totally appreciate that. So yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, because I was like, well, wait a minute, that's not what I was expecting, right? And then one other thing I want to talk about, there might be some other things that I'm missing about this update. Sarah Fields reported just an hour ago, in an interesting turn of events, One of the individuals on the panel with Tiffany Billions was discussing the doxed witnesses was Mark Anthony, the longtime best friend of Drew Anthony. That's this guy. I don't have a pointer, so the guy down in the right-hand corner, he's been kind of nefarious through all of this. He's like a friend of their family. I thought that she had said something about Charleston White and Drew Anthony working together too. I don't know why Sarah's putting pictures of her newborn. Oh, here it is. Here it is. This was on August 30th. In an odd development, Charleston White, who I'm currently suing for defamation, has just hired Drew Anthony, Karmelo Anthony's father, as his personal assistant and publicist. She's like, I have no words for this. I don't either. This is from Charleston White himself, official Charleston White. I just hired Karmelo Anthony's dad as my personal assistant and publicist since he was forced to quit his job due to racist white people calling employment threatening, harassing, intimidating, stalking, and appearing, which we do not approve of at all, harassing. And I already talked about that. I just wanted to make sure that I had seen that. I didn't want it to be like a Kelly Deaver false memory type situation. But yeah, we'll have to go check that out. All right. Well, let's stop talking about that and switch gears real quick. I just wanted to
Today's a gift we all can feel. The wounds are raw, but time will heal. Be thankful now for where you stand, and hold the world in grateful hands. After the bars, we're rising strong, facing the world where we belong. Recovery burns a steady flame. Grateful hearts call out your name.